Hey guys, Sarah here. So today I'm going to be talking about all the different corn snake morphs that have the word sun in their name. I'm really going to do this video to just go through the differences of each of the different sun morphs because I know that they're really confusing. And I do want to do a video on each of these individual morphs, but I'm doing this video sort of as a precursor to each of those so that you guys can just come to this video and exactly know what the difference is. I also want to say I'm sorry for not posting a video this last weekend. It was my anniversary with my boyfriend and he wanted to do something special, and he's not my boyfriend anymore. He is my fiance now. We got engaged, so if you guys would love to support me, I now have a wedding to plan and pay for. I still have these masks available on my website. There's matching t-shirts. I also, of course, have my books that are both available as ebook on my website, so I'm gonna link that down below if you guys would like to support me and go buy something. Because like I said, now I'm going to be paying for a wedding very soon. So I'm going to start out today with the sun morphs that are actually mutations and explain to you guys what those are, and then I'm going to go through the selectively bred things that also have sun in their name. It's really easy to confuse all of these things because it's like, you know, what is a sun kiss versus a sunrise versus a sun glow? Like, a lot of people find it really hard to know the difference, so that's why I'm here today to explain that to you guys. Okay, so I'm going to start in my first book here. This is the first one. This book goes over all of the different base gene mutations that we have and what they do and how they originate and stuff like that. I'm starting here with the sun-kissed. Now, in this, sun-kissed and stargazer are on the same page, but there you have a baby sun-kissed. Sun-kissed is a hypomelanistic type. That basically means, if you don't know what hypomelanistic means, it just means that there's less melanin. I did a video on all the different hypotypes that I'll link above for you guys. And it also creates this funky pattern. A lot of times they have a really strange head pattern. These saddles are going to be kind of weird and squared off, and sometimes it'll mess with the overall color of the snake. Sometimes they have a lot more yellow than average, and they are usually going to have brown or tan belly checkers. So that's going to be your sun-kissed. Sun-kissed actually is, like I said, it's a hypotype that originated within Okatee lines. I don't think that I have done a video on sun-kissed yet. I intend to, and when I do, I will link that above, but I haven't done that quite yet. The next one that I want to talk about that's another gene mutation is Sunrise, which is also very close in the same, like in the book. So this is a Hatchling Sunrise. Now, this is an A-male sunrise. We don't really have a whole lot of information on what an adult regular sunrise looks like, but an A-male sunrise kind of hatches out looking like a very, like, maybe brightly colored snow, and then after a few sheds, that red comes out really quick. So this is a like a yearling, and they go from being like white to being red like this, and that's gonna be, I think, pretty much across the board. Like I said, we don't really know what an adult normal type sunrise looks like yet, because anybody who has maybe produced them, I think Steve Roylance has been doing most of the work on it, has not been keeping the normal types. However, he has been keeping ultramel types, so we can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. I believe the ultramel types are called Aurora, and they look like very brightly colored ultramels. So I imagine that a normal would hatch out looking very dark and then get very like bright red as an adult. So now, just talking about the difference between the two we just talked about, the sun-kissed is a hypomelanistic type, and the sunrise is a type that affects when the colors actually come in from the hatchling to adulthood. So the colors would have a normal progression usually. A lot of A-males that hatch out kind of light, sometimes they do take a long time to get their full color in. But so that doesn't necessarily make them a sunrise. But sunrise kind of delays that color coming in, and then it makes it super bright. Now, another thing that we've seen with a lot of sunrises that are striped and A-male is that they also will sometimes lose patches of color as they get older as well. They'll kind of, like, just like one scale at a time, will start to turn white. So like I said, I'm not going to go into a huge detail on that, but I wanted you guys to know, like, those are the only two actual gene mutations that we're going to be talking about on this Sun list, is the sun-kissed hypotype and the Sunrise, which is the color delaying mutation. I'm going to be moving on now to stuff that's in my second book, which is this one. Most of the copies of these actually have a much lighter background. I'm not sure why this one printed out with a dark background, but since it did, that's why it's my personal copy. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up to the next one that we're going to be talking about, which is Sun Glow. Now, Sun Glow is a selectively bred form of amelanistic that doesn't have, originally a Sun Glow was just an amel with no white. That was the initial, I'm going to fix my hair here a little bit. It's not like fixing it, but it doesn't look quite as weird now. They originally were just called amels with no white, which is what this one here in my book is. I was going by the traditional definition, amel with no white. However, in the updated version of my book, I'm going to add what the most commonly used form of sun glow is now, which is a very, very brightly colored amel. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but this amel here is not super brightly colored, not super red. The colors, even though he doesn't have any white on him, on the tops, on the top of his body, he doesn't like shine, like he's not like super bright, you know, but there are amels that do get really, really bright. I'm going to just show you here what a fluorescent looks like. There's a fluorescent. Now, I did have an amel video that I went over all the different types of amelanistic, but pretty much a sun glow is going to be like this fluorescent, but without the white borders. So that's sort of what the newer version of a sun glow is going to is. I say newer version, like I said, back when the term sun glow first came out, pretty much any amel that didn't have a white was considered, or have white on the top of its body was considered sun glow. But now we just have kind of a higher standard of what a sun glow is. It has the more brightly colored, more fluorescent type coloring, just without the very thick borders on it. The next sun morph that we're going to go over is also a selectively bred type. I'm going to see if I can get to the page in the book here. It is actually the Sunspot. Now, Sunspot is a selectively bred type of stripe. I still can't get there for some reason. I cannot turn to the page. Okay, there we go. My bookmark was not very good. So here is a Sunspot Hypo. This is actually a cinnamon, which is the Emery version of the Hypo. But as you can see, sunspots have these dark spots that go down their body. This is a stripe corn snake. Now, I know looking at it, you're probably thinking, well, that looks like a Motley corn snake. That doesn't look like a stripe. But I'm going to really quickly bring up the other book and bring up a Motley to show you guys so that you can see the difference in the color and pattern. Okay, I hope that you can see this. So over here we have a Motley, and as you can see on the Motley, the lighter colored spots, well, the lighter color is the spots. Now, for those of you who don't know, the lighter color is actually what we would consider to be the ground color in any other snake. So when we say the ground color, we mean the lighter colored, which is what is turned into the spots going down the body on a Motley. But on the stripe version, on the sunspot stripes, the dark color, which is the saddle color, is actually what makes the spots. So if you just remember, if you see darker colored spots, it's a stripe. Lighter colored spots, it's a Motley. So those are going to be the two that are, or the ones that are selectively bred. There's one more sun morph that I wanted to mention, but it isn't like, it's kind of weird because it's not necessarily a gene mutation. It's also sort of selectively bred, but not like exactly selectively bred, and that is the Tequila Sunrise, which is most commonly confused for Sunrise. Tequila Sunrise was originally found, I believe that they have determined it to possibly be a hybrid at this point, but originally I believe it was VMS who created at least the majority of the story that we know about it now, and I'll turn to that in my book and go over it for you guys really quick. Okay, so here is a Tequila Sunrise Ultramel Anery. This is pretty typical of a Tequila Sunrise look. As you can see, there's a lot of yellow. And that's one reason that we think that it's probably a hybrid. Now, it did originate in ultra types, which has been determined to be a hybrid. And we believe that this selectively bred line probably retains a lot of the like rat snake traits, which is why it's so yellow. And as you can see, there's a lot of light color in the saddles. They obviously have this sort of dark gray saddle borders, but other than the saddle borders, I don't know if you can see, there's like the border, and then there's kind of a gray color, and then it turns kind of white again, and that white is actually what we call frosting. So a lot of Tequila Sunrise lines are very, very frosted. I don't have a specific place where I talk about frosting by itself, but frosting is essentially when there's a white within the saddles that almost looks as light as or lighter than the ground color. And a lot of different corn snakes have some mild frosting that you don't really notice. It's just like, oh, that's just part of what a corn snake looks like. It's just a higher percentage in the Tequila Sunrise lines have it. I'm just browsing through really quick to kind of show you guys maybe another one that has some more like obvious frosting. Give me just a sec here. Okay, here's a photo that I believe I used in my Spectre Heliconia video. This is a Heliconia, and you can see in the saddles here is some pretty obvious frosting, some very light white colors coming in to the saddles like that. Whereas most of the time those saddles are going to be more of a solid color. You can see this snake has some solid color saddles, like this one here seems to be more solid, up closer to the neck seems to be more solid, but then once you get down here to the mid body where they're a little bit more stretched out, you see the frosting white in the middle there. So I hope that kind of helped clear up the different kinds of sun morphs there are out there. The sun-kissed and the sunrise are the only gene mutations. Like I said, the sun-kissed being hypotype, sunrise being the sort of delay in the color, like the color formation or whatever, particularly in like the reds. And then sunspot being your selectively bred stripe, where it has the darker spots that go down the back. Sunglow being your very, very brightly colored AML that has no white, and Tequila Sunrise sort of being the selectively bred version of it's usually seen in ultramel aneries and sometimes snows. I will probably do a whole video on each of these, including Tequila Sunrise, in the future. But like I said, in this video, I just wanted to kind of tell you guys what the difference was, in hopes that maybe that would help clear up some morph issues that you might be having. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, check out my website and buy merch, because I now have to pay for a wedding. Isn't the ring beautiful? It's absolutely beautiful. He has amazing taste, especially in women. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.